Hey everyone. Hi Sarah. You need 2 blocks today. Welcome. Especially if you haven't been here for a couple weeks. It's nice to have you back. I'm gonna set up my mat and then we'll get started. Yeah, so 2 blocks. And if you can, make sure you have some space. Oh, jeez. Make sure you have some space at the front edge of your mat and the back edge of your mat. We're gonna go a little like out of bounds today. And as always, I love when you leave a comment and let me know that you're here. Who else? Jill. Hi, Jill. You guys are well? Let's go ahead and get started. Come to your mat. Try to end on time, which I'm not that good at. Okay, come to your mat and take a seat. Find a comfortable seat. Whatever you want. You can take Virasana with the knees on the mat. I'm going to take this Siddhasana variation, but choose something that feels right for you, and bring the hands to the top of the lap and let the eyes close and let yourself tune into your breath, tune into the body, let yourself arrive. Yeah, just notice that first breath in fills the body. So today we're going to work on listening. It's a tool that I think we all are probably striving to get better at all the time. It's one of the maybe most valuable tools we can have as humans. Given that we're in relationship with other people, most of us aren't going to get through this lifetime without relationships, without interacting with other people, with other humans. And so being able to really hear each other gives our whole community a sense of value. It's one way. And so I want you to kind of tune into what it feels like when you feel like you've really been heard. And you can just kind of in your mind rattle off adjectives. How does it make you feel when you feel really, really heard? And then I want you to kind of turn the camera around on yourself and consider what it feels like, or what it feels like for you when you're listening really well. And sometimes the easiest and best way we can understand how well we're listening is to also understand what it feels like when we're not listening well, or what are our tendencies, what do we do, just kind of getting our minds in this headspace. And maybe even bring to mind a moment or a time when you weren't listening very well. I will share, lately I've had a little bit of trouble, almost like pre-listening or going into conversations assuming or thinking I know what the other person's going to say, and then actually listening and realizing that I was completely wrong. That this story that I built up in my head about how someone was going to react or respond to an issue or a topic I was just completely wrong. And so there's this third piece too of being willing to accept what someone's really telling us, even if we had all these preconceived notions of what we thought they were going to say or how we think they are. So without going too deep on this, giving people, when we really listen, we give people the chance to show up brand new every time. We accept and recognize the fact that we change, and that Everybody else also changes in every moment. We're constantly evolving, adapting, and I like to work on those kind of things with myself. And if I'm working on it with myself, it means we've got to give other people the space to shift and change and evolve as well. The only way we can like really do that is just by like tuning in and listening well. And so I get that we're talking about something that we're maybe gonna like do off of our mat. So I want to help us like embody this. And so we're gonna work a lot on listening to our own bodies and how do we tune into our own kind of internal listening system. So you need to adjust your seat or wiggle around or whatever you can, but then we're going to do a little body scan here to start. So just first, I would recommend closing the eyes so that you have, or making the eyelids heavy so you have just a little bit of an increased capacity to imagine. And we'll start by just taking our attention to the bottoms of our feet. And you'll just notice, like, if the feet could tell you, if the feet could speak, what would they say? What would they say about how they feel right now, the quality of the feet? What do they feel like? Do they feel tired and cramped? Do they feel light and airy? This is the exercise we're just going to repeat as we move through the body. And so move your attention to the top of the feet. Same thing. If the foot could pick up a telephone and tell you about its day, what would it say? And you don't have to go like down a rabbit hole, but let yourself rest in the awareness of each piece of the body as we go. And then move your attention to the ankles. Just notice. Move your attention to the lower leg, recognizing the shin and the calf muscle. And then continue to move your awareness up to the area of the knee. Take a moment here. The knees tend to be one of the areas of the body that is more kind of vocal, if you will, about pain or irritation. So check in there too. But don't assume, maybe even if you feel like you always have knee pain, try not to look for it or try to let it be painful if it's going to be painful. But if it's not painful right now, let it be unpainful. Let it be something else. Move your attention to the upper legs, taking your attention to the femur bone and the quadricep, the hamstrings. And then move your attention to the hip crease and the hips, the pelvis. So recognizing the bowl of the pelvis and then all the internal organs that sit inside of it. Our reproductive organs, our digestive organs, our elimination organs. Allow those things to speak to you as well. Recognize the muscles that wrap around this lower part of the belly. And then move yourself up to the mid-belly where the stomach is. Continue moving up the torso to the space of the lungs, the rib cage, and the heart. Notice if there's any restriction in the way that you're breathing today or in this moment. Does the breath get caught anywhere? And then just follow the shape of the ribs to the back body, where the ribs connect to the spine. So you're kind of in this mid-upper back, where the shoulder blades are. And then move down the back, so you're in the mid-back, maybe the top edge of your lumbar curve. And take your attention to the low back, all the way to the tip of the tailbone, including the sacrum. And then move your attention back up to the shoulders and take your attention to the upper arm bones and the elbows. Take your attention to the lower arms, the wrist, the hands and the fingers. Notice if you're kind of gripping the legs in any way. And then take your attention back up to the tops of the shoulders and the neck, the back of the neck, the sides of the neck, the throat, the front of the neck. And then continue up to the face, noticing especially the jaw, the eyes, the muscles of the face. And then see if you can place your attention on the entire body, the whole body, just for a moment here. As a whole, as a collective, what does the body tell you? And then release your attention on the body. Let it go. And flutter the eyes open. Lift yourself up off your block. Place your block at the front edge of your mat. And then go ahead and kind of crawl yourself to the front edge of your mat. So the hands are going to be off the mat. And your knees are going to be at the front edge of the mat. You're in a hands and knees position, so the shoulders back over the wrist. And then just start to make little circles with the hips. We're going to make about 5 circles. Just pick one way. It doesn't matter which way you go first. And depending on what the body tells you, you can make the circles bigger. Maybe the seat comes all the way down to the heels. Maybe not. You can also kind of adjust the speed based on what you feel like your body's asking you. And if you could try something and then feel like, whoa, that was not it, do something else. Let there be room for something different than what your brain wants it to be or what it thinks it should be. And then pause in the middle and go the other way. Again, starting a little bit smaller, let's try to avoid being like aggressive or really jarring with the body. So just kind of staying in this like more quiet and contemplative place, testing little things at a time. If you're making about 5, there's probably 1 more left in this opposite direction. Good, and come back to center. From here, tuck the toes behind you, bring the inner edges of the feet to touch, and then sink the hips back to the heels, knees go wide, so you're in this yogi squat or malasana. Let the head fall heavy, hands are reaching out in front of you. So heels are heavy, seats heavy, hands and head are heavy, and knees are wide. Walk the hands back underneath the shoulders. Lift the hips up halfway and step your left foot back behind you. Walk your hands in between the right foot and then heel to the right foot a little bit to the right. So you're in a lizard shape. Then just look forward and pulse forward and back a few times. Yeah, taking your time, letting the hips open gently here. Come up onto the fingertips and then slide your left shin forward and sink onto the hips. Slide the foot forward. Just find Sukhasana. Right shin crosses in like a simple cross-legged seat. And then just take the hands to the side and pause. Take a moment to listen. Lean back. Hands come back behind you. Switch the legs so that the left shin is in front. And eagle wrap the arms. Left arm goes underneath the right. Back to the hands press or palms press. Breathe in. Reach the elbows away from you. Breathe out, reach the elbows down, feel the shoulder blades broaden. And then you can take the ears towards the shoulder or shake the head no. And then unwind the arms. Lean onto the right side, swing your left leg behind you, find a pigeon pose on the right side. Hands come in front and bring the forearms to the mat. Maybe you put a block under the forearms. So we're early in class and this is a deep hip opener. So move into it slowly and listen here as well. When things get uncomfortable or painful, what happens in the brain? Do you shut off? Do you stop listening? Do you go into kind of like survival mode in any way? Can you stay soft? Can you stay open? Can you keep the ears open? Even let the jaw just drop away from the rest of the skull. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Tuck your left toe. Lift your left knee up. Down dog split. Breathe in. Right leg lifts up and back. Breathe out. Bend the knee. Open the hip. And then straighten out the leg and step your right foot halfway forward. Lift your left leg just halfway and step the left foot next to the right. Hands walk a little bit forward. They might come off the mat here. Find a short down dog. Let that head fall. And then lift the heels and come to the knees. You're back in the hands and knees at the front, very, very front edge of your mat. Adjust the hands and the wrists so they're underneath the shoulders. Breathe in and let the belly drop down. Chest reaches forward for cow pose. Chin lifts. Exhale, press into the tops of the feet and puff up the back for cow. Let the head fall heavy. A few more rounds here. Moving with the breath. Exhale. Breathing in. Breathing out, puff up the back. Come back to neutral. Tuck the toes, bring the inner edges of the feet together, tuck the toes, and then sink the hips back, knees go wide again. Hands come back a little bit, but still reach forward as you drop the head, yogi squat. And then take the hands underneath the shoulders, lift the hips up halfway and step your right foot back. Walk the hands inside the left foot. Take the left foot a little bit more to the left. You're back in this lizard shape on your hands. Just shift the hips forward and back. If the hands don't reach the floor for any reason, just put the blocks underneath the hands. Good, and then come up onto the fingertips. Slide your right shin forward, sit down on the heel, and then slide the heel forward. Find Sukhasana with the left shin in front. Hands come to the side, pause, maybe the eyes close, or you find the soft gaze. Take the hands behind you, lean back, cross the right shin in front, eagle wrap the arms, right arm goes under left, back to the hands press or palms press. Breathe in to reach the elbows away, and then breathe out, reach the elbows down. And again, open and close the mouth, unclench the jaw. Let the jaw drop, almost as if you're in awe of something, like, whoa. And just notice what happens. You might feel a really subtle release in the inner ear. Unwind the arms. Take the hands to the mat. Sit onto the left side of the hips. Swing the right leg behind you. Find pigeon pose on the left side. So left knee comes a little to the left. Right leg goes long. Untuck the toes. Come to the forearms once again. Let the head fall. And listen. Try to stay soft here. And then take the hands underneath the shoulders. Tuck your right toe. Down dog split. Breathe in. Left leg sweeps up and back. Breathe out. Bend the knee. Open the hip. And then straighten the leg and step the foot halfway forward. Lift your right leg up and step the right foot next to the left. Walk the hands forward. Find this short down dog. Let that head fall heavy. And then bring the knees to the mat. From here, inner edges of the feet touch, tuck the toes, come back to yogi squat one more time. Knees go wide. Let that head fall. This time, keep the shoulders inside the knees, and then take the hands, flip them upside down so the backs of the hands press to the mat, and reach for the heels. From here, pull the knees and in towards center, so you're almost pressing the knees against the shoulders. Let that head fall heavy. And release, take the hands to the mat, lift the hips halfway up and step back to downward facing dog. Pedal at the feet a few times, shake the head no. Find some stillness here and then breathe in, come to plank pose. Breathe out, lower all the way to the belly. Untuck the toes, lift the head and the chest, elbows pull back. Exhale, forehead to the mat, come back to downward facing dog. Pedal out the feet a few more times and then begin to walk the feet towards the front of the mat. Take your time here. When you get to the top, take a half lift, hands to shins. Exhale, hands come to the waist. Heavy the tailbone to stand all the way up and then find Tadasana. Hands come by the sides. Feet press down into the mat. And then gather the hands in front of your heart center. What does it feel like to listen well? How does it feel in your own body? How does it feel to be really heard? Let the eyes open, take the hands by the sides. Breathe in, reach the arms up and overhead. Look up and see the thumbs touch, the hands touch. And then soften the knees, take a reverse swan dive, hands to the mat and fold over the legs. Inhale, take a half lift. Exhale, plant the hand, just step back to downward facing dog. Breathe in, come to plank pose. Breathe out, lower the knees, arch the back, lower the chest and the chin. Untuck toes, press the shins and slide to cobra or a baby cobra. Elbows pull back, chest lifts. Exhale, downward facing dog. We're going to take 5 breaths here. So you can take a cycle to pedal at the feet and then try to settle in. Press through the whole hand here. That's 2. You don't have to breathe on my count. 3, I'm just a guide, just giving you a reference point in time. 4. On your 5th exhale, lift the heels, bend the knees, gaze forward between the hands, step or jump to the front of the mat. When you arrive, half lift. Exhale, fold over the legs. Soften the knees, reverse swan dive, arms reach up and overhead. Look up and see the hands. Exhale, pull hands through center and then find Tadasana. Hands separate, fingers reach down towards the mat. Again, breathe in, arms reach up, look up. Exhale, bend the knees and fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to plank pose. Look forward and lower halfway for chaturanga or to the belly. Breathe in, upward facing dog or cobra. Breathe out, downward facing dog. 5 more breaths here. That's 1. See if you can deepen the armpits and lengthen the sides of the waist. 2. Can you unclench the jaw? 3. 4. On your 5th exhale, lift the heels, bend the knees, gaze forward. Step or jump to the front of the mat. When you arrive, half lift, look forward. Exhale, fold over the legs. Reverse swan dive, soften the knees, arms reach to the sides and up, look up. See the hands touch. Exhale, Tadasana, hands pull through heart center. Find home base in a way. Heel to the feet just a little bit apart. You can eyeball it for now, maybe like 2 to 3, 4 inches. Hands come to the waist. And then breathe in, lift or float the sternum. Breathe out, soften the knees and fold over the legs. Take 2 fists between the big toes to measure hip width distance. Yeah, and then grab the big toes with the first 3 fingers. Pull the toes forward as you lengthen the sides of the waist. Exhale, elbows pull in opposite directions, fold forward, let the head fall heavy. Totally fine to keep a softness in the knees here. Padangusthasana for 1. The legs are active here, but let the torso be soft. Shake the head no. 2. 3, again, you don't have to breathe on my count at all. 4, just let yourself breathe naturally, everyday breath, or whatever the body needs. The body knows how to breathe. And 5. Breathe in, take a half lift. Exhale, take the hands to the waist. Breathe in, come to stand. Breathe out, heel toe the feet together, inner edges of the feet touch, hands come by the sides. Breathe in, sit hips low, arms reach up for chair pose. Exhale, let the tailbone sink down. Inner legs pull together. Stay with the breath. On your next exhale, lay the belly on top of the thighs. Hands reach all the way forward like they're coming out of your head. It's a half chair. And then keep bending the knees until the seat reaches the floor. Feet lift, arms reach towards the outer edges of the feet. Navasana, boat pose. Stay with the breath. I like to flex my feet. It kind of helps bring everything towards the midline. And you can have a little curve in the spine so you know you're activating the belly. For you, Sarah, if you feel like it's hard to hold this, take your hands to the sides of the waist and pull, like actually pull your belly and your abs towards the center. And then you might not do this next part. On your next breath in, you're gonna lower halfway, not all the way to Navasana or to Ardha Navasana. On the exhale, hands come inside, knees come towards the shoulders. Keep reaching the hands towards the feet. Breathe in, release. Breathe out, reach. 3 more. Inhale, release. Exhale, knees to shoulders. Inhale, release. Exhale, knees to shoulders. 1 more. Inhale, release. Exhale, knees to shoulders. This time, Ardha Navasana. Lengthen everything. Everything hovers. And release. a little core work there. It's nice. And then bend the knees, bring the soles of the feet to the mat. Hug the knees into the chest. You can rock side to side here. Yeah. And then take Baddha Konasana on your back. So the soles of the feet touch, hands come to the outer edges of the feet. And then take Happy Baby. And then go between these two shapes a few times. So Happy Baby and then Baddha Konasana. Da, da, da. A few more times. Go at your own pace. You don't have to follow my speed or my pace. You can go slower, or if it feels like you want to really pump it, you could take it a little faster. Good. And then come back to Baddha Konasana. And you're going to reach your hands underneath the heels, and you're going to cross your right ankle on top of your left. Keep the hands in between the legs. The feet are going to lift up a little bit. So you kind of create a diamond with the legs, and then lift the head and the shoulders up. And any amount, you're going to bring your feet towards your forehead. As you do that, you might nuzzle the upper arm bones further between the legs so that the knees come outside the shoulders. Many of us might not get this. And then the feet will come up towards the head. So you've got like a nice C curve in the back here. And release this. Bring the head and the shoulders back down. Cross the left ankle over the right. Breathe in. On your exhale, lift the head and the shoulders. And then once again, wiggle the arms, the upper arm bones between the knees so that the shoulders kind of rest between the knees here. And then you can use the hands to reach the feet towards the forehead or the crown of the head. And release. Hug the knees into the chest. And then take Happy Baby. Catch the outer edges of the feet once again here. And then release the outer edges of the feet. Take the hands inside the feet and then wrap the arms behind the calves and catch the outer edges of the feet. Breathe in. On your exhale, lift the head and the shoulders. And then once again, you're going to use the elbows to snuggle the shoulders further inside the inner knees. And then once the knees are as high as you can get them up on the upper arm bones and the shoulders, squeeze the knees in towards center. And then see if you can cross the right ankle over the left. Hands reach away from the face. Flex the hands. Pull the knees in towards the shoulders and find the shape. And then release. We'll do it one more time, crossing the left ankle in front. This time on your exhale, lift the head and the shoulders. Wiggle the shoulders further in between the knees. And then first squeeze the shoulder or the knees in towards center to squeeze the shoulders. And then take your hands and flex the feet. So part of being able to press the hands down or the knees pulling towards center. And then see if you can cross the left ankle over the right. You can even pull the feet towards the forehead. And release. Extend the legs all the way long. Extend the arms up and overhead. Find Tadagi Mudra. There's almost like a little pond or a lake in the belly here. Good work. And then bend the knees, hug the knees into the chest. Take the hands behind the knees, lift the head and the shoulders again, and roll forward and back on the spine here. Giving yourself a little massage. Find some momentum and then find your way to the top of the mat. Find this yogi squat one more time. Scoot yourself back enough so that the hands press down onto the mat. You'll stay here for another round or lift the hips up and place the knees on the backs of the arms. Look forward for crow practice. Put some weight into the hands and maybe the feet lift up. Keep pressing the knees in towards the center line just like we practiced. And then if you have it in your practice to shoot the feet back and land in chaturanga, you can, or you can just meet us in downward facing dog. Oops. Beautiful. From here, walk the feet about halfway forward. So you're back in that half down dog shape. Take the hands off the front of the mat. Let the head fall heavy. And then lift the heels, bend the knees, and bring the knees to the front edge of the mat. Adjust the hands as needed. This time you're going to take the knees wide. Tuck the toes, and then come into yogi squat with wide feet this time. Hands press in front of the heart. Elbows press the knees in opposite directions. From here, hands come to the mat. Left foot steps back behind you. Spin your left heel down. Right hand comes right inside this right foot. If the hand doesn't reach, put a block underneath the hand. And then pull this right hip bone back underneath you. On the exhale, peel your left arm up towards the ceiling, side angle B. Keep pressing the outer edge of your back foot. And then you have an option to stay here, flip this top hand and drape the arm behind the back. We're just gonna take the half bind. So your hand might catch the inner edge of the right thigh. Gaze can go up. Stay with your breath. And then release the left hand. Take the hand to the mat. Flip up your back heel. So you're back in like a low lunge. Straighten your right leg. Breathe in. Breathe out. Right toes turn to the left. Come through center. On your exhale, turn your left toes out slightly and bend the knee. Take your left forearm to the inner knee and then press the knee away from you, away from the torso. Inhale, come back through center. Exhale, low lunge. My blocks ran away from me here. Grab your blocks on the highest setting. And then reach the hands forward for them and find warrior 3. Left leg floats up. Come to the balls of the pads of your fingers and reach the hands forward. You might soften the right knee to find equilibrium or your center line here. Breathing and keep that left foot flexed. Keep reaching, heel back, hands forward. And then release the hands back to the block. Left foot comes to meet the right, fold over both legs. If the hands reach the floor, just let them release. Breathe in, take a half lift. Breathe out, right foot steps back behind you, spin the heel down. As you straighten the left leg, take a half lift and lengthen the sides of the waist. Line up your sternum with the front leg and fold forward for Parsvottanasana, pyramid pose. Yeah, if the hands don't reach the floor, take blocks underneath the hands. Just bring your blocks with you. Inhale, half lift, soften your front knee. Exhale, right knee comes forward to the mat, but outside of the left foot. You're in a seated spinal shape here. Take the hands to the sides. Feel both hip bones press down to the floor. You can even take your thumbs to the hip crease to feel that. And just pause for a moment. From here, lean onto the right side, swing your left leg behind you and find pigeon pose. Let the hips sink down. And then walk the hands forward. Any amount. Let the forehead come to the mat. Walk the hands back underneath the shoulders. Sink onto your right hip and come to sit down in a Parvrita Janu Shirshasana shape. Hands come behind you, lengthen the sides of the waist for a moment, and then lean back and find Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet press. Exhale, find Tarasana. Just move the heels away from the hips. Flip your palms up and slide the hands underneath the calves. You're going to move forward into a fold any amount here. So you can bring the forearms to the mat maybe, hands come to the feet, and then just let the head fall heavy. Land wherever you are. Keep listening to the body. Open and close the mouth, unclench the jaw. And then lift yourself up, unwind. Hands come behind you, lean back, Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet press. Left knee folds towards the right, and then find hands and knees at the front of the mat once again. Bring the knees to the very front edge of the mat. Yeah, knees go wide. Tuck the toes behind you, press through the hands, come to sit in a yogi squat. Press the hands, elbows press into the knees, lengthen the sides of the waist. As much as you can, try to find the natural curve of the spine, although the lower spine's not gonna, it's pretty hard to stick the booty out here. Hands come to the mat, right foot steps back. So you're in a lizard shape, and then you're gonna spin the back heel down. Look down at both feet and just notice the heel to heel alignment. Left hand presses on the inner edge of the left foot. Pull your left hip back up and underneath you. On the exhale, right arm peels up for side angle B. The gaze will follow the thumb. And then you can stay here. You have an option to flip the hand and drape the arm behind the back. Let the torso continue to open up towards the ceiling. Keep pressing the outer edge of the back foot. Good, and then release the right arm, reach it up, and then take the hand to the mat. Flip your back heel up. So you're in this lizard shape again. Straighten your left leg, breathe in. Breathe out, left toes to the right, come through center. And then turn your right toes out just barely and bend the knee. Right forearm comes to the inner right thigh and presses the knee away from the torso. Come back through center. Exhale, low lunge to the front. Reach the hands forward for your blocks and then plunge forward into warrior three. Right leg floats up. Come to the finger pads. Press your left heel down as you reach the right, or the both hands forward in front of you. Warrior three pose. Keep reaching the right heel back. Hands come back to blocks. Right foot meets the left foot and fold over both legs. If the hands reach the floor, let them fall to the floor. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, left foot steps back behind you. Spin that heel down to the mat. And then breathe in, straighten your right leg as you lengthen the sides of the waist and reach the sternum forward. Exhale, sternum lines up with the front leg and fold. Let the head fall all the way heavy. Keep pressing and putting weight into the outer edge of your back foot. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, left knee comes forward outside the right foot. Sit down into seated spinal twist. Take the thumbs to the hip creases and just feel both hips pressing down to the mat. If you need a block under here, you can. Take the hands to the side and just pause for a moment. And then lean onto the left hip, swing the right leg behind you, pigeon pose. Left knee comes to the left, right leg goes long. Untuck the toes. And walk the hands forward any amount. Keep listening. How are your hips different coming to pigeon pose a second time? Maybe they're the same. Maybe they feel more tight, less tight. Maybe there's more tension, less tension. Try to really just watch and pay attention. Take the hands back underneath the shoulders, sink onto the left hip and find Parvrita Janu Shirshasana in the legs just for a moment here. Hands come behind the back. Lean back, find Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet touch, and then move the heels away from you for Tarasana. Flip the hands up. I know I have my back to the screen here, and then slide the hands underneath the calf and the shins. Fold forward any amount. Hands come towards the feet. Stay with your breath. And slowly unwind here and come back up. Hands come behind you. Lean back. Pull the heels in towards the groin. And then right knee folds towards the left. Hands come to the mat. This time downward facing dog. Breathe in, roll to plank pose. Look forward. Breathe out, lower halfway for chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Look forward. Bring the hands a little bit closer together. And then breathe in, lift the heels, bend the knees, look forward. Outside the hands, you're going to jump forward and land the feet outside the hands into this yogi squat. So coming to it forward this time. Hands come to heart center. Press the knees in opposite direction just for a moment. And then hands come to the mat. Lift the hips up. Left foot steps back. Stay in a lizard shape here. So the back heel stays up. From here, right hand's going to come behind your right heel. And then use the leverage of the heel, or maybe you take the hands to the calf and dip your right shoulder underneath the right knee. Some of us might just move the right hand from the inside of the right foot to the outside of the right foot. So take your choice here. And then maybe some of us will take the hands wide. Some of us will fly the hands. If you do, keep looking forward, or you can bind behind the back. Stay with your breath. Release the hands. Both hands come inside the foot. Inhale, straighten your right leg. Right toes turn to the left on the exhale. Breathe in, come through center. Breathe out, turn your left toes out and bend the knee any amount for Skandasana. Yeah, lower the hips on the exhale. Right leg goes long. Press the right toes away from you. You can bend through this left knee any amount here. Come through center. Breathe in. Breathe out, low lunge. Inhale, hands come forward, standing split, left leg lifts. Fold the torso into the standing leg. Let that head fall all the way heavy. Breathe in, take a little half lift, hands come forward. Breathe out, left knee comes to the mat outside the right foot. You're back in this seated spinal shape. Yeah, feel both hips pressing down to the mat. Grab a block if you need it. If possible, let this right knee fall on top of the left for Gomukhasana. So yeah, you can adjust with the hands. Take the feet wide. And then right hand reaches to the right. Left arm reaches up and over. Maybe you dip this right elbow down towards the floor. The gaze can go over towards the left, peeking up and underneath the armpit. Just feel a nice big opening from the base of your left hip all the way through the left side. And then come back up to center. Arms are long. Just pause, just wait for a moment. And then walk the hands forward any amount. You might even be able to rest your chin just over the top knee. Walk the hands back in and come to sit. Lean a little to your left and swing your right leg all the way back behind you. You know where we're going. We're just driving by through pigeon this time. Sink onto the left hip and come to this wide leg shape with one leg. Lean back, Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet press. And then find Sukhasana with the right shin in front. So just a simple cross-legged. I'm going to turn a little to the side so you can see. From here, hug the right shin in towards the chest. So you can cradle the shin kind of like the baby style, or you can just hook the forearms underneath the calf. So the calf sits right in the crease of the elbow. So whichever one feels better for you, you feel like you can get the most kind of movement and free movement in the leg and the hip. Yeah, and then from here, take the left hand to the outer edge of your right foot. Right arm comes inside the knee, and then bring the knee back towards the shoulder. Do that a few times. Yeah, and then maybe one of the times you just hook the knee over the shoulder. Yeah, and then release it and move it around a little bit. And then without making it a big deal, hook the knee over the shoulder. Keep it as easy as you can. And then release. Lean back, find Baddha Konasana again, soles of the feet press. Right knee folds towards the left, hands come to the front of the mat, downward facing dog. Breathe in for plank pose, look forward. Breathe out, lower halfway, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Look forward, bring the hands a little closer to center. Lift the heels, bend the knees. The feet are going to jump outside the hands. Sink the hips down. You can always walk forward for that as well. Elbows press to the inner knees, press the hands. Hands come to the mat, right foot steps back. You're in this lizard shape. Some of us might want to drop the back knee for this, and that's totally an option. Left hand comes behind the left heel. And then you might use the hand on the ankle to dip this left shoulder underneath the knee. Maybe some of us just take the left hand outside the left foot. Hands can go wide. Maybe the hands fly. Look forward for that, or you can bind behind the back. If you bind, reach the sternum forward. Yeah, and then release the hands. Straighten your left leg. Left toes turn to the right. Come through center. Half lift. Breathe in. Breathe out. Turn right toes out and let the hips sink down on the exhale for Skandasana. Left toes reach away from you. Lengthen out that leg here. Breathe in through center. Come back through center and find a low lunge. Exhale. Breathe in, hands walk forward. This time, right leg lifts up. Fold into the standing left leg. Standing split. One hand or both can come to the ankle or the calf. Whew. Little balance challenge. Focus your gaze if you want to do that. And then breathe in, hands come forward to the mat. Breathe out, bend your right knee and just bring the knee outside the left foot. Sit down into seated spinal. Feel the hips press down into the mat. And then if it's possible, let that left knee fold on top of the left or the right. Gomukhasana, legs, cow face pose. Take the hands wide and then reach the left hand to the left. Right arm reaches up and over. Maybe you dip the left elbow down to the floor. The gaze goes towards the right. So you've got this nice big opening. You can even Like as you drop the left elbow, you can even press through the hand to help you keep that right hip on the mat. And then come back to center, tent the hands, arms go wide. It's kind of like a low V here. Just pause. Come back to listening. And walk the hands forward. Yeah, is it harder to listen whenever things get like a little dramatic? What happens to our mind whenever there's like drama again, or like something hard or like intense, or there's like an increase in sensation? Do we get distracted? Walk the hands back up. Swing the left leg all the way back behind you. Drive by pigeon here for a moment. So get on top of the hips and then sink the hips to the right. Yeah. And then we're back in our little Parvrita Jani Shirshasana. Lean back. Soles of the feet touch. Baddha Konasana. Sukhasana, left shin in front. Good. And then from here, pull the left shin in towards the chest. Go ahead and cradle it or do the hook move. And just rock back and forth, find some movement in the left hip. You can even take the left hand to the mat and kind of lean onto the left side. It's almost like myofascial release. It's kind of nice. Yeah, and then we're going to take the right hand to the outer edge of the left foot, left shoulder and arm come inside the knee. And then just take the knee back to the shoulder and release it. And then bring it back, release it. Get funky with it if you want, and then maybe the leg pops over the shoulder. Don't make it a big deal, undo it, and maybe you try it again. Yeah, and that's all we're doing. Release. Hands behind you, soles of the feet touch, Baddha Konasana. Left knee folds towards the right, hands to the front of the mat, downward facing dog. Inhale, roll to plank pose, look forward. Exhale, lower half, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then lift the heels, bend the knees, look forward, and just walk yourself slowly to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, grab your blocks, hands come to the waist. Inhale, come to stand. Exhale, take a big step back with your left foot, or do it so that you face the screen. And you can take the blocks to the mat. Take the hands to the hips here, soften the knees, and we're just going to come to a fold. So we're going to use these in a little sec. So Prasarita Padottanasana, bring the crown of the head towards the floor. Reach the heels of the hands back in line with the heels of the feet. Fingertips and toes all face forward. And then a little weight comes into the toes. Shake the head no. Unclench the jaw, crown of the head comes to the mat. You can even kind of activate the arms a little. And then walk the hands forward, half lift. Heel toe the feet in. So we want still a wide stance. Wider than hips width. Just, yeah, like what kind of, if I did that, it would be like an A. Can you even see that? That's not a good way to describe that. It's not as wide as we just did, but it's not as narrow as Padagustasana. So grab the opposite elbows and just swing here. A wide leg forward fold. And then take the hands to the mat, bend the knees even more, and then walk the hands back so that the fingertips now are in line with the heels, or the backs of the heels. And then use the elbows to pull the shoulders inside the knees. Maybe even take the hands to the calves again and let the head fall. See if you can lift the hips here. And release, hands come forward, half lift. And then just come to your knees for a moment. All right, here we go. Been warming up. Set yourself up in a direction where if you fall backwards, you're not going to hit anything. And you might even want to put a pillow behind you, like a crash pad if you have one available. This isn't that intense, so don't worry. Come to stand up on the feet. Take those feet about as wide as you just had them. And take your blocks on the widest, flattest setting right behind the heels. Yeah, so notice I kind of turn this way, because I've got, rocks and whatever back here. So take your hands inside the legs And then plant the hands onto your blocks, fingertips face forward. Bend the knees a lot, and then kind of use the elbows and the upper arms to nuzzle the shoulders inside the knees. And then maybe you'll get the knees over the shoulders. You can even kind of use the feet here. And then bend the knees even more. And then hamstrings are just gonna like sit right on your shoulders. Look forward as you lift the heels, and maybe you're gonna stay here. Maybe the toes slide towards one another, and you can lift the feet and cross the right ankle over the left. If you do, reach the feet away from you. As you reach the hips back, keep looking forward. Press through the hands, press the shoulders or the knees into the shoulders, and release and fold over the legs. Release, shake out the hips. You're doing great. Let the head fall heavy. Oh. And then we're gonna do it one more time and see if we can cross the other ankle in front. Bend the knees a lot. Hands reach back behind you. Fingertips face forward. Again, nuzzle the shoulders back so that the knees come over the shoulders, and then sit the hips back. They'll rest right on the arms. As you look forward, lift the heels and come to the toes. So the toes are really pointed here. Then maybe the toes come towards one another and you cross left ankle over the right. As you do that, pull the knees towards the shoulders. Squeeze everything, and then reach the feet forward. Seat reaches back. Can you listen for a moment here? And release, fold. And just sway side to side. Let the head fall heavy. Take your blocks to either side, and then bring the knees to the mat. Cross the ankles, roll over the feet. Bring the soles of the feet to the mat. Hands come behind you, fingertips face forward. Breathe in, lift the hips up, let the head fall back. Just look straight up at the ceiling for this one. And then lower the seat. Find Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet press. Left knee folds towards the right, just an easy baby twist to the right. Come through center, Baddha Konasana. Let the right knee come to the left and just turn, easy, easy. And come back to Baddha Konasana. Roll over the feet again. Come to your knees, place a block between the ankles, and arrive on your seat. If you need 2 blocks, you can have them. Hands come to the lap, let the eyes close. You cannot truly listen to anyone and do anything else at the same time. So let yourself begin to calm down. Let the body begin to not do anything so that we can continue to listen. And we've spent about, 45, 50 minutes listening to the body. So now I want you to take your attention to the breath. Try not to manipulate the breath in any way. See if you can just watch the breath. Is it possible for you to not get involved, to not involve your brain in your breathing now that you're paying attention to it? Can you create a little bit of space between the part of you that's observing your breath and your body breathing? Feel the hands resting on the lap. Bring yourself back to the body. Let the eyes open. And then from here, walk your hands back. We're all going to probably end up a different amount. You might walk them back even further. You bend the elbows a little. Some of us might even come onto the forearms. This is as far as you're going to go. And then press yourself back up. Lift yourself up off your block, put it to the side, cross ankles, roll over the feet, and extend the legs long for Dandasana, hands pressed by the hips. Lean back again, hands come behind you. Bend into the elbows a little bit, point the toes, and then lift the hips up, Toes come to touch the mat. Let the head fall back so that you can look straight up at the ceiling. On your next exhale, lower the hips to the mat, bend the knees, and come to lay down. From here, take a block on the widest, flattest setting. Lift the hips and place the block underneath the hips. So it's just a supported bridge pose here. Feel the contents of the low belly just spreading in a way and being completely held and supported by the block. Take your second block, if you have one, and if this feels okay, and lift the hips higher and place a second block underneath the sacrum. So you might have to adjust both blocks to get it in the right spot. And then stay here. Notice the opening and the release in the belly and the hip flexors. You can even tuck the left toe underneath for a moment, getting a little bit more of an opening in the front of the quad. We did a lot of curling inward, a lot of bringing chest to thighs. So we're just kind of reversing that. Release the left foot if you have it, and you could take the other, the right foot, the top of the foot will just come back by the right side of the block. And then release it, lift the hips up, remove just one block, bring the sacrum back to a single block. You might have to adjust it, probably move it down. And then lift the hips and bring the sacrum to the floor. From here, lift your left leg up and cross the left ankle over the right knee. Let both knees fall over to the left and take the arms overhead and catch opposite elbows. Just notice the right side of the body. Come back to center, release the left leg up, and then put the foot on the mat. Take the left or the right foot up, cross the right ankle over the left knee. Let the right knee fall, and then let both knees fall over to the right. Put the opposite forearm on top, overhead. The eyes can be closed here. Let the jaw and the tongue be heavy. Soften the eyes. Come back to center. Take your right foot up and then bend the knee. Bring the foot to the mat. Take the feet wider than the hips and let the knees knock in. And then lift the arms up and over and take one hand to the heart, one hand to the belly. So we listen to the body, we listen to the breath, but notice here with the hands on the chest and the belly, how we can listen to the breath through the body. So just noticing the belly lifting and expanding on the inhale. And noticing the fall of the belly on the exhale, the deflation of the belly and the chest. Just feeling ourselves breathe here. Heel toe the feet towards center and extend both legs long. Release the hands and take the arms by the sides, palms face up. Wiggle out anything you need to, and then relax everything. Let everything go. Relax the jaw. Feel the muscles fall off of your bones. Everything gets heavy for this Shavasana. Allow your whole being to completely release and let go. You're welcome to stay right where you are in the Shavasana if you need a little bit more time on your back. Otherwise, gently take your attention back to the breath and wiggle the fingers and the toes. You'll bend the knees and bring the soles of the feet to the mat. Let the knees fall to the right side. Find a fetal position on the right. Keep the eyes closed or the eyelids heavy. And press through the left hand and bring yourself to a comfortable seat. A Sukhasana with the left shin in front. Hands rest on the lap. Listening is an art that requires attention over talent, spirit over ego, and others over self. As you gather the hands to heart center, gather all of the insights that you've developed in this class so that you can take them with you off the mat. Take your thumbs to the third eye or the space between the eyebrows. Namaste. Thank you so much, you guys. Hi, Alyssa. Nice to have you. So, if there's a couple new changes to my schedule this week, and one of them is on Thursday at 6 p.m. It's a basics and alignment class, and we're going to do it on Zoom. So if you're interested in that, leave your email in the comments. Thanks, Sarah. And I will get you information for that. Or if you want more details on the whole schedule. So, so this class will be here next week on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We also have a class on Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and then we've got that Basics and Alignment one on Thursday evening at 6 p.m. And then there's one more new class on Sunday. I'm calling it Soul Service, and it's at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and it'll be Vinyasa, similar to what we just did, but we'll like cut out the arm balances, and we'll do restorative and kind of yin stuff at the end. And it's meant to make you just feel like completely taken care of and nourished and like ready for a new week. So it's like a little bit of movement, a little bit of restoration. I think something that we like all don't make time for, but we totally need. Sarah, oh, nice, you guys. Thank you so much. So, and lastly, if you can donate, these are still donation based for the moment. I'm working on cooking up some new stuff for the fall, but I'm suggesting a $10 minimum at the minimum, and you can find me on Venmo or PayPal. So, thanks for coming. Enjoy your evening, and I'll see you guys so soon. Thanks, guys.